again, everybody. Welcome to the Backbone Podcast, where common sense still makes sense in a world that is sick and only getting sicker. And as we give football a break for a little bit, we get into the real madness of the world and what is going on. And all the rhetoric, all the nonsense that has been going on is just absolutely absurd. You know, the Romans used to have a thing about bread and circuses. You know, people would, as long as you keep them entertained and as long as you keep them fed, they'll be fine. They'll be subservient to you. And that's what we are. Football, the playoffs, has just been blinding people of what's going on. And a lot of the nonsense that the right wing and left wing media provide us is also blinding us. But Trump, I am so oranged out by this guy, and I never thought I'd say this, but his manhood has completely collapsed. He's lost control over Ukraine, over Iran, over Israel, China, Europe, Greenland, fucking Minnesota, Russia, all these places. All of them are coming, all these crazy mushrooms are coming up, sprouting up all at once. And he clearly can't handle it, and he doesn't have the people to handle it. If you ever read his book, The Art of the Deal, he made a point that he likes to be the smartest guy in the room. That is the worst possible position a leader can be in. He has his retard son-in-law, Kushner, going and negotiating with Ukraine and talking about Ukrainian policies. That guy couldn't find Ukraine on the map. I mean, no wonder why we're giving these guys $60, $70 billion. They don't know what the hell they're doing there. And Trump, he looks old. He looks lost. He's saying the same things now. He's repeating the same shit. It's very disappointing. It's very disappointing as we now we're ramping up the rhetoric now. The U.S. has now put the Abraham Lincoln, the aircraft carrier, in the Straits of Hormuz in what is being called an area of responsibility. Some people are calling it a strike zone to hit the Iranians. And nobody, and I mean nobody, can tell you why. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 20 years ago, there was the excuse to bomb Iran because they were developing nuclear weapons. Well, in June, we were told that Trump destroyed that facility and that they'd have no more nuclear weapons. So why are we going in there now? Well, now it's because of the protesters. The streets are lined up with dead people all over Tehran and all over different other cities in Iran. There isn't images of any of that anywhere to be found. So why do we have this military action or these exercises underway? Well, there's an answer to that too. Let's first hear from the Orange Messiah as he gloats about his big, beautiful strike force.
By the way, there's another beautiful armada floating beautifully toward Iran right now. So we'll see. I hope they make a deal. I hope they make a deal.
What deal? And you hear these morons clapping? They don't know what the fuck they're clapping for. They think they know. They just see Trump and he says the words beautiful, big, beautiful, blah, 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 blah. They don't know what they're clapping for. They don't know what they're going to war for. It's amazing how dumb we are in this country. It's really scary now. Before I used to laugh at it. You know, we were kind of retarded Americans. We live in our own little bubble, so it's fine. Nobody can get to us. But now it's really scary because the world is turning away from us. There are a lot of countries now who are making deals with China and Russia, and the whole BRICS thing. That's bad news for us. That's very bad news. Because if we lose the dollar as a world currency, it's over. It's over. Now, the American government will fight back. But how many countries are you going to fight against? What are you going to put tariffs on everybody? They'll just cut you off. They don't need us anymore. They never really did. They were just lazy. The Europeans were very lazy. They were used to the money coming in and the imports and the exports going in and out. They loved it. They were making a tremendous amount of money off of it. But Trump has opened a lot of people's eyes to this. He's been bullying the Europeans. This whole Greenland fiasco is just, it's so stupid. I don't even want to think about it anymore. And now, guess what? It's out of the news now because Iran is in the news. Well, I wonder what happened with that deal. Where's the deal? Every other week, it's something new. Greenland, Iran, China, this, that. This guy is just, he's totally lost control of the plot. And what is happening in the state of Minnesota has got to be concerning, because if it's in Minnesota, it could spread to Wisconsin. If it goes to Wisconsin, it could spread to Illinois. It could spread and it could get dangerous. These ICE agents, I get it. They have a tough job. I get it. But they got to reel it in. They got to reel it in. I mean, these shootings now, that's what, 2 shootings now over the last 2 weeks. You're making these people martyrs. It doesn't look good. And I'm telling you, before we start, because I know I've been ranting now for 7 minutes, if God forbid a child gets killed by one of these guys, we're really looking at, I didn't think it would get this far. We can't even get illegal aliens out of this country. We can't even do that right. We are that pathetic and feeble. Holy shit. I can't believe it. I honestly, it's like watching a bad movie. It's like watching that movie. What was that movie called? Idiocracy, where the United States was just a bunch of retards who were, just everything was just all fucked up. We're there. It's not 500 years from now. We're there now. We're at the starting point. And Trump has done all he could to absolutely destroy the midterm elections and possibly the next presidential election. Because if we get a Democrat, I don't even want to think about it. If we get a Democrat into office, I don't even want to think about it. Because the rhetoric and the policies that will pass, if we have all the branches of government, well, the Senate, Congress, and presidency controlled by Democrats in 2 years, that will, I don't even want to think about it. Let's get to the day's predicament. The USS Abraham Lincoln remains in the U.S. Central Command's, quote, area of responsibility. Like I said, some people are calling that a strike zone. Some people are calling that a military position exercise, whatever the fuck that means. But it's marking a significant escalation in U.S. military posture near Iran. Iranian authorities have continuously warned of repercussions if the U.S. launches any military attacks. I mean, what do you think they're just going to do? They're just going to sit there? Iran is likely to use all its cards if it comes under, quote, an unprecedented existential threat from domestic or foreign intervention and pressure. That's what Elie Grenimah, Deputy Director of the Middle East North African Program at the European Council, said today. Quote, while Iran will take the biggest hit from their regional conflict, Trump is unlikely to come out a winner with the type of decisive blow he seeks. What she's saying is that just blowing up a few buildings isn't going to do anything. America has relied on air power way too much. Air power does not win you wars. We found that out in Korea. We found that out in Vietnam. We found that out in Iraq. We found that out in Afghanistan. The only way to win these wars is by putting boots on the ground, and we don't like that. Because when you put military people on the ground, they die. And we don't like seeing coffins come back. She went on to say, quote, those pushing for U.S. strikes argue that they can protect civilians and also tip the balance of hard power in favor of actors seeking to topple the Islamic Republic to the ground. Yet, the past 2 decades, the U.S. intervention in similar contexts suggests this will lead to more bloodshed and instability while also hollowing out the economic and sidelining moderate forces pushing for democratic change. Instead, the European countries are thinking of coordinating with partners in the Middle East to pressure Iran and the U.S. Towards, quote, a quick de-escalation off-ramp before the conflict spills into an even deeper and more perilous regional war. The Europeans, who used to always be in the U.S. coalitions to fight Israel's wars, are no longer falling for this. So this is going to be the U.S. going at it alone, which usually happens anyway. But the Europeans have just said, we're not fighting an Israeli war for you. And Netanyahu has been pushing for a wider assault against Iran all this time. The bombings in June did nothing to satisfy the Israelis. And the Israelis are talking about hitting Tehran themselves, which we saw they really can't. They can't do it without us. They can't without the United States. And why do we always bow to these people? There's a significant question to be asked. Why do we bow to these people? Ali Viez, an Iranian project director at the International Crisis Group think tank, believes and noted that the Israeli-U.S. attacks on Iran sites in June last year demonstrated that, quote, Iran's defensive capabilities are largely ineffectual, even at strategically sensitive sites. This is likely to remain the case, especially versus U.S. capabilities. Still, though, end quote. Still, though, the message from the Iranian military right now has been to maximize. Tehran said it will strike back and strike back hard, and it will use everything at their disposal. We're hearing rumors that the Russians are feeding them weapons and planes. We're also hearing rumors that China may be giving them supplies. This is not good. Because who's giving us supplies? Douglas McGregor, if you watched him on interviews on YouTube, and even Steve Ritter, have all said the same thing. And a lot of people are saying the same thing, that the U.S. military is very depleted. It's not the big military juggernaut that we all think it is. And that they say that we cannot win this, we cannot defeat Iran on the ground, we cannot conquer them. We would have trouble right now with Venezuela. Can you imagine that? But we do this because we, for some reason, Trump, I should say, bows down to Netanyahu. I just don't understand what these people have, how much power these people have over us is absurd. The Iranians and their commanders of their core group have warned neighbors like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Turkey, that they would be considered hostile if their territories were used to attack Iran. Saudi Arabia, an American ally, has made it clear that they will not allow their airspace or territory to be used in any military actions against Iran, according to the official Saudi press agency. This means nobody is on the side of the United States on this. Saudi Arabia will not allow any airspace. They will not allow any territory or ground means whatsoever. The Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman held talks with the Iranian President Mossad Pezeshkian earlier today, in which the Saudi leader affirmed the kingdom's support for resolving disputes through dialogue in a way that enhances security and stability in the region. The Iranian president's office said, and they expressed appreciation for the Muslim country's support for Iran. The Israelis, and I'm going to try to make a video on this tomorrow because the videos that I saw were shocking. The Israelis have been trying to get the Muslims or the Islamics on their side when it comes to Europe and dealing with these hostilities in the Middle East. The Muslims will never fall for that. They're not stupid like Christians. They hate Jews more than anything else. They will never side with Israel, ever. They are not morons, pathetic, girly morons like Protestants and evangelicals and Baptists and Protestant nationalists. That will never, ever happen. And you just saw here, no Islamic country, no Muslim country will give the United States any support in this battle here. That is another big time defeat for us on a global scale, diplomatically, I should say. But here's the big one. And here's what really, really should send a message to Trump and all these neocons who just love to fight and go to war. Not that they fight, they send poor white kids to go fight. France is one of the first EU members opposed to designating the Iranians as a terrorist organization, reported by Reuters. This is a clear showing that Europe are done bowing down to American authority. This is the first step the Europeans are taking from walking away from us. Trump's bullying has turned those people off so much that they are now, they're like, hey, fuck you. You're going to treat us like this? We're gone. People can only take so much. And no one wants to die, and no one wants to go to war for the Israelis anymore. It's all over. You know, it is what it is, man. Reuters is printing France, quote, France has made it clear that they do not believe it would be useful to list the Iranians for now and want to keep communications open for now, meaning as a terrorist organization. An unnamed European diplomat told the news agency. The diplomat added that France is also worried that listing the group could harm efforts to bring back, quote, 2 of its citizens currently living in the embassy in Tehran after being released from prison last year. So the French have their own reasons for doing this. Here is something that should concern everybody. There is talk that the United States may try to attempt to cut off oil reserves from China, oil deliveries from Iran to China. Check out this map here. If that is the case, then you get China involved in this, and then it's all. I mean, here now you're just looking at getting China involved and Russia involved, and now it's a much bigger circumstance than we could ever imagine. You can't fight everybody. Trump thinks he can. And Trump isn't fighting a diplomatic war or a financial war anymore. He's fighting a war of ego. And that's when you lose. Very, very concerning, very, very sad events going on right now around the world that are being perpetrated by us. We are trying to bully these people into submission, and we're trying to do it for this insignificant slither of desert in the Middle East that they don't like us, they don't love us, they don't care about us, they want to see us dead. And they're manipulating us. And one day it's got to stop. It's just got to stop. And I think the more obvious it is, these next generations that are coming are going to turn a blind eye to that little country there and to its people and to the influences that are here in the United States, because it's out of control now. It's become so obvious that we're being used that there's no longer a denial anymore. And you have all these boomers like Mike Huckabee and Ted Cruz and all these guys saying Israel's our greatest ally. The Bible says we have to worship Israel. We have to pray for Israel. We have to bless Israel. The Bible, nowhere in any Bible does it say that, except for one, which was published by a Jew in the early 20th century. No Bible says that. It's all a lie. And these Protestants, these protesters of Jesus' church, have all fell for it, and they're trying to get you to fall for it. And in some cases, they want you to die for it. Don't let that happen. And there's my 2 cents. Thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Remember, my friends, as you just saw, Satan is always busy. Be a man and have a backbone, because masculinity and common sense are worth standing up for. And just remember, if it ends in an ism, it's a mental disorder. We'll see you later.